Hello, everyone. So the next question is the E question, which is a surprise question. And if you look very carefully at surprise question, you must always look at specifically content of the source that you are surprised about. So if you look at the provenance of source E, it is by a British eco business. So they are, of course, very pro banning microbeads, because they were looking at alternatives to plastic and packing industry. Now, in a surprise question, you must always pay attention to things that are of vocab or content that is opposite from the bigger picture or what you have read from other sources. Okay, so it's very important that you must read all the sources and you have to see which content actually makes you surprised and which content makes you not surprised. So if you look very closely at the ones that is already highlighted in yellow, while there is a ban, okay, there is still a wide variety of products that can continue to use microbeads, and especially these products are designed not to wash off. Okay, so while the ban is on products that is easily rinsed off, there are still products that is available that do not wash off, and they're still using microbeads. So it is quite surprising that this continues because the ban is supposed to ban all microbeads, right? Now, another thing that could surprise you is definitely industry. The industry means all the different companies, cosmetics, or any of the for example, soap products, these particular companies, they are failing to sort of label their products, whether or not it's free from microbeads or they still contain microbeads. So this is quite surprising because the ban is quite huge and the ban is quite comprehensive. That means must follow. Okay. So definitely when you have a surprise question, okay, always ask yourself what you are surprised about. So the source is surprising because it mentions that the ban is not successful as there are loopholes. The meaning of loopholes is there are things that a company can sort of evade, sort of like, go the back way and try to see whether they can avoid the ban. Okay, now all this source details, it is surprising. Now remember that when you're surprised, you have to cross-reference to information that's opposite from source E. Now for this particular question, you could cross-reference to background information because it tells you that um, there is a ban that is being implemented on all products. You can also use source B, which shows that the UK government has proposed the strongest ban. So it's quite surprising that companies are not following. Or you can cross-reference to source C because it shows that all retailers, all industries will need to support the decision. So the very fact that there are companies that failed to follow, it is surprising. Okay, so this is your one paragraph of surprise. Now, it is not surprising because there will be companies who will try to evade the ban and refuse to follow the rule. Okay, from the source, there are some evidence. Okay, and it is not surprising because there are companies who's doing that. So you can cross-reference to, for example, background information that actually shows that there are companies that still fail to label the products because it's very expensive, or you can cross-reference to source D. Source D actually shows that the companies are not following the ban because it actually has little impact to change the environment. So they might not as well follow it, right? So it is not surprising that there are still companies who do not follow the ban, even though the ban is sort of compulsory. It is also not surprising because of logic. Now, the very fact that this is an eco-business website, it is obviously wanting to pressure companies to follow the ban. Okay, it will benefit them and it will also benefit the environment. So it is not surprising that this company is really trying to highlight that there is actually some flaws in your ban. Okay, the strength of this particular question is most of the students were able to identify why they were surprised. Many gave clear understanding of source E, so very good. So you would be somewhere between level 3, 4 to 5 marks. Okay, you would get 5 marks, which is the higher marks from this level 3, which is either surprise or not surprise, provided you can use good source details and you explain. Okay, if you go on to give the not surprise, you can get as high as actually the full marks, provided that you're able to give very good source details and a very clear explanation. Now, you cannot cross-reference the source A because the year of the ban only started in 2018. Now, source A is 2016, so it doesn't matter whether it shows effective or not effective. Okay, now areas for improvement. Not all students attempted both sides. So a lot of you were stuck in the 4 to 5 marks. We understand that it is about time management, but if you could push yourself and you're very clear, definitely continue to do both sides. Okay, now students who tried to do the not surprise due to purpose, you still again need to be very clear that purpose requires a stronger outcome and more targeted. You cannot just say that this is an eco business website without having clear answers what is the intention. Okay, overall I think for surprise questions, as a level, I think everyone did pretty decent. Continue your good efforts.